that's how he's maintained his status as a company, but he's wholly online now. He has no physical store anymore because it wasn't worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means there's no outreach.
Well, and I mean, the other thing is that, like, for tabletop gaming, which is just what I go to because it's what I'm familiar with, and physical media is kind of a requirement for that. I'm down in Houston. There's 7 million people in the Houston area. Okay. There are maybe there's less than a dozen tabletop stores. Okay. And these are stores that have tables to rent for people. There's probably, I would say, like a second tier
as big as tabletop
store.
is right now too. That's
yeah,
wow.
I know. And there's probably several dozen more stores that are literally nothing but a counter and a bunch of collapsible tables and chairs. Okay. And they do things like Magic
but it's a
competitions and stuff on the weekends, but that's it. They don't do anything except that. You know?
And it's super niche though.
How niche of a market are all of us in? I mean,
we're super niche. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
we are like below status niche, most of us.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at, like,
the problem is that comics is already a niche market, and like what you're asking, well, at what we're doing, what as independent publishers on our own platforms, on our own websites, it's a niche of a niche.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So
but
further
I mean,
down
it's
it
great
goes,
because,
the smaller the
with
percent is.
a couple thousand customers, you can make a lot of money, and you can produce. But yeah, I mean, the idea, if you want to fight the culture war, you can't just move the needle with a couple thousand customers. You need to get mass distribution, and whether it's comic shops or whether it's Target or grocery stores or whatever it is, you have to get it out. That's why I think in a lot of cases, webtoons and the crowd distribution, dude, they get way more eyeballs. They get way more eyeballs than Marvel and DC do.
Yep.
Right. And so it's like, if you're fighting the culture war and you're like,
but also they have a lot more
creators
than Marvel and DC do too, and that's kind of the other side of the sword, right? I mean, it's a double-edged sword. They might get more eyeballs, but there's so many more authors, creators, artists out there.
Yeah, but cream always rises to the top.
Well, and that is true. But I guess you have to go through a lot. You have to go through a lot more milk to find the good cream.
Right now, right now, the indie sphere has so much cream, so much piping hot cream, ready to drench.
I have cream everywhere.
Is people talking about this being a culture war, but really, it's like, what's the forward vision of your battle or your part in this culture war? Is it just to make your comic so you can sell it to 600 people and make a living? That's not fighting the culture war. That's not going to change anything. You know what I mean?
Well,
there's gotta be, I mean, it can be a start, but unless you have a vision and some plan to actually affect the actual culture, not just fill your own pockets and appease a few hundred people, that's the thing. The culture war is it needs some generals and some game plans.
That's part of the reason that I'm trying, because I can't, dude. I couldn't draw a stick figure to save my soul. But what I can do is I can look at what other people are writing and see the enthusiasm they have for their writing and feel that enthusiasm, and then try to get that enthusiasm out there for other people. And then tell other people, hey, if you're like me and you couldn't write a book, you couldn't draw excellently.
You can write a book just fine.
Shut up. I can't. Stop it. I'm a drunkard. I'm a drunkard.
You can read it.
Don't you lie to people. I drink beer and that's what I do. But jokes aside, we need to build people who are excited about these things and get that out there. And I've been hugely honored by some fans of this channel and who I actually talked with, and I talk with them quite frequently over in my Gilded, who've said, man, I love what you do on your channel and I see how much you're trying to do, but you're just one guy. I'm going to start doing what you do. And other people are now in Frequency Studios. I'll shout out the channel. He has told me this directly. Go check out Frequency Studios channels. He's reading the books. He's getting the books. He's bringing the authors on his channel. He's talking about this stuff. He is trying to build this because it's not just about the authors. It's not just about the artists. It's not just about the storytellers. It is about us as consumers actively looking for something and actively wanting to say, hey guys, that cream you're drinking over there is really sour. Why don't you come drink the good cream? We need to have, and I guess that's what I'm trying to do.
Come drink our cream.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to ask this question. Has anybody here ever had like raw cow's milk, like basically cream? 24 hours removed from coming out of the cow? Has anybody here ever?
Squirrel.
I'm assuming. Okay, I have. You literally you milk the cow, and then you strain the milk. I'm dead serious. You strain the milk.
No, I know.
You put it in the mason jars. You put it in a freezer for 24 hours because that will kill any bacteria, and then you drink it. And literally, the cream sits on the top. Mm-hmm. And then you can grab it and you can shake it before you pour it in a glass. But I literally I grew up.
I don't drink milk because I'm not 8 years old.
I drink beer. I can't tell you the last time I had a glass of milk, probably because it's not raw. But seriously, but that's where the thing comes from. And when it gets sour, sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, guys, I'm a farm kid. Okay, just going. Why do you think I can drink as much beer? When you grow up with rednecks, you learn how to drink your beer. Also, a lot more things I don't drink. But anyway, but that's what I'm trying to do here on the channel is say, guys, Mike S. Miller, he's a great artist. He can put together some fantastic stuff, especially for Shad. But they need people out there. They need people out there going, hey guys, over here. Hey guys, over here. You need that number one fan that gets other people involved. I can't be the number one fan for everybody. I'm one guy. But if I can inspire other people to go, oh crap, you're checking out this story? Well, let me check out wow, that's a really good story. And they go, hey guys, we need fans to do it too.
Right.
It is.
It's the way we used to be when we were kids. Going on Wednesday, You're there for 3 hours just shooting the crap and freaking looking through the back issue bins and talking to the people that are there and recommending stuff. James Craig says, Mike Miller, it's a tall order to talk to creators about changing the culture at large. I don't want to be complacent with just a few thousand customers, but I'm not even there. Oh, I know I'm not saying it's not a tall order. I'm just saying that you have to have a vision. If your whole plan is just to sell your book, then you're really just being self-serving.
Well, I would even argue that's all right.
And there's nothing wrong with being self-serving in that case. But I'm, when you're talking about the culture war and people are talking about the culture war,
Kelvin.
I am Kelvin.
It's like it can't just be self-serving. So it's like
fair enough. If you invoke the culture war moniker,
which I do,
I understand.
And that's I know, I have a vision. My vision is for a multimedia company. And I believe that some way down the road I will get there. I don't know how, but that's my purpose. That's I'll get there eventually. And
right there with you.
Whatever on ramps, off ramps that takes. That's my vision. That's my long-term goal. So it's like I'll do what I do now, and I'll take the paycheck, whatever it is. But I never lose sight of that goal. People without a vision are dead.
Mm-hmm.
To throw it to our guest, I was curious about what areas do you see as far as culture war? Do you see progress being made there? Do you think that there's areas that people should be do you see basically spaces in the market and things like that, or do you have any thoughts to that effect?
I definitely think there's been progress as far as I've seen. I mean, this whole thing began with nothing. It began with this, basically this, they'd won. They controlled the narrative, they controlled the culture, they controlled everything. They got the comics, the movies, the TV shows. But yeah, there's definitely been some a lot of progress. I would say a lot of progress, and we've seen a lot of support for this progress. And more normies are just walking away. It's not even because everyone is just fighting the culture war. It's not even because everyone is suddenly awake to all this nonsense. It's because they tell bad stories. Their stories are awful and boring. And that's kind of what's winning it for us. This by the nature of that they're awful at doing this stuff, that people are just walking away naturally. And when they walk away, they got to walk somewhere. I mean, they got to walk somewhere, and where they go is elsewhere. That could be anime, manga, or it could be indie comics.
How do you get the normies? How do you? And admittedly, I was one for a lot of years, and I don't know what rabbit hole I fell down. I don't know, but how do you get the normies over here? Because there are a lot of people that are just like, well, the Marvel movies just aren't what they were. I'm like, oh, have you heard about that? No. And then they just, as soon as you say something that's like they didn't know that they didn't know about, right? Like two separations of they didn't know about, they just tune out and they go back to typing on the guy. How do you get the normies here to new stories? Because a lot of people, if it's not fed to them, like on the boob tube, they don't care.
Well, I mean, there's a couple ways to do that. One, when people are doing it now, it's just going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to, it's been years. But I mean, yeah, it's been years. But in the span of years that have gone by is, the long-term things, not really that much time has passed. It's like this whole movement, indie movement, this anti-establishment movement is really still kind of beginning. It's not really a child anymore, but it has matured, but it's still kind of beginning still. And if you have like a lot of people talking to audiences and things, and you have saturation of indie works, especially really good ones, the ones that have good stories, good structure, good characters and things, then word of mouth will spread. I mean, people I like this book, and they'll tell their friends, and they might tell their family, and then they say, oh, look, check this out, and everything. Is it going to happen overnight? Obviously not. But it is growing. As far as I've seen, it is growing. It might not be like, might fluctuate in terms of what people are willing to crowdfund or whatever, but it is growing. We have more creators, more books coming out, and of course, the people will find their favorites and things. They'll go back to their next projects. The saturation, all that stuff. It's like it's the old school way of doing things, as far as I've seen. The old school way of doing things. Market is not necessarily any more of the marketing and ads, but if you're talking about just getting people to the indie sphere, well, then the people talking to audiences, people getting the message out, people getting books in front of people's faces, people saturating the market with books. It's just a thing. I mean, like Amazon actually allowed this for a while. They had to open up their I guess their ports to indie fiction, which anybody can just open up an account and upload fiction. And I got into that for a while. I tossed money at some people that are just random, and this looks cool, this looks good. 90% of it was just awful, absolutely abysmal, unreadable. But I did find some diamonds. I did find some diamonds in the rough. I do like very few, but the ones I did get, I love them. This one guy I found is I just buy everything he writes because it's so hardcore. But yeah, it's just availability, saturation, get the message out there, things like that. So I think the way to get normies into the indie sphere is happening right now. It's just going to take a little time. Yeah. Gotta get more books out there. Gotta get more attention out there.
Thank you all for being here on A Drink with Crazy. If you guys never want to miss a notification for the channel, go down in the link in the description and click that button to follow me and support me over on Locals. It's free to join, but that's where you can support me with money if you so choose. Also, don't forget to click those Rumble and Odyssey links so that way we can get over there and keep that growing. And until next time, cheers, everybody.